If you're using YouTube to grow your business, you might feel like you're doing everything right. Consistent uploads, valuable content, helpful advice. But here's what no one tells you. Most of that content is actively repelling the people who would have paid you. So after analyzing over 1,000 channels this past year, including ones that my own viewers submitted, I found 5 repeating mistakes that completely destroy client generation. So in this video, I'm gonna show you what those 5 mistakes are, why each is so damaging to your business, and the quick fix for each one that turns casual viewers into loyal paying clients. Okay, so let's start with Dawn McGee's real estate channel here. So right up top here, her channel banner has her headshot, which is good. She's got her broker logo and contact information. Then her profile description here focuses entirely on her credentials and her services. And if we look at her videos, what are we mostly seeing here, right? They're mostly property listings. There's an address here, it's one particular house. It's another family home for sale right here. Then we've got another one. And there's almost no educational content here. So all this together adds up to one big mistake. She's basically using YouTube to sell her services, not to attract clients with what they've come for, which is free, useful information about moving to Nova Scotia. You know, people come to YouTube to learn and to solve problems, not to be sold to. So when someone's searching for information about Nova Scotia real estate, they're usually months away from actually hiring an agent. They're trying to figure out if moving there makes sense for them in the first place, right? They want to know which neighborhood is going to be best for them, what the schools are like, that kind of stuff. A much better approach here would be creating content that actually helps people in that research phase, right? Videos like 5 most affordable Nova Scotia neighborhoods for families, or what $500,000 buys you in different parts of Halifax, or Nova Scotia versus New Brunswick, where should you move? These kinds of topics serve people who are earlier in their journey, but are exactly who are going to need a real estate agent in the very near future. Then there's, still the matter of her banner and her about section. I always tell people not to make these elements all about what you actually charge money for. So what I'd rather see her do is something like Darren Criz here. He emphasizes that on his channel, you're gonna learn about living in LA, which is very different than, hire me as your realtor, even though you're trying to figure stuff out right now on YouTube. Just make this and this first and foremost about, that this is the kind of stuff you're gonna learn for free on my channel. And don't worry, the sale will still happen naturally after you give them what they actually came for. They'll follow the links to your website and reach out when they're ready without you ever having to make the hard sell. Okay, now the second major mistake is one that I'm very familiar with because I did the same thing myself back in the day. So this is Olisa's channel. He's a web designer, and YouTube's actually a great way to get web design clients if you play it right. But if you look through his videos, he's making videos about like how I closed a web design client, how to build a successful web design portfolio, how to build multiple income streams as a designer. These are topics that are perfect for other web designers, but completely missing the mark for potential clients who actually need a website. Now, this could be okay if he has some way of monetizing this new audience of other designers. But as I go through his links, right, he's got a website right here. This looks very much to me like it's a website for clients to check out his work. So he doesn't seem to offer anything to those web designers that he seems to be trying to attract on YouTube. So really, this is more of a hobby channel at this point. And believe me, I know how easy it is to fall into this trap because I made the same mistake years ago. I had a pretty popular podcast called the Deeply Graphic Design Cast we had thousands of listeners. It wasn't too bad. But they were all fellow designers, right? Not a single client ever came from that podcast. I was talking to my peers, not to my potential customers. And I get it. We like to talk about what we're passionate about, and sometimes we don't know exactly how to talk about those topics in a way that our clients would care about them. So what can Olisa here do? Well, it's easy, just flip your audience focus. So if you're a web designer, you wanna make videos like 5 website mistakes costing small businesses clients, or how to know if your website needs a redesign, or what every service business homepage needs to convert visitors. These topics directly address the problems that your potential clients are probably having. And when you make videos that are meant to bring in actual clients, not just talk to peers who love what you love, you can actually turn your YouTube channel from a hobby into a real marketing strategy. Okay, next up, let's take a look at this cleaning business channel from Clean Snob. At first glance, it looks pretty good, right? I mean, it's fun, it's cheerful, but when you look closer at some of her thumbnails, there are definitely a few issues. Now, I picked this channel in particular to roast for this just because she's actually making a few of the most common thumbnail mistakes that I always see. So it's kind of a one-stop shop for that. Now, before we dive into the actual issues, let's talk for a quick second about why thumbnails are important in the first place and what you should be doing with them to get the best results. First, the biggest job they have is to be eye-catching enough to make people take immediate notice when they see them on, the YouTube homepage. And I do think actually a lot of these fit the bill nicely. They're bright and she looks like you'd have fun watching her. But then after grabbing that attention, the thumbnail needs to give a quick little visual of what the video is going to be about and what you're going to get out of watching it. And a lot of these are just too cluttered or have the wrong focus to really convey that. So let's take a look at this one, for instance. So we have her face, 2 pink boxes of the text, we have this other text, we have this arrow. That's just a lot going on. And the, spelling errors here, this just doesn't really say anything, right? I get that it's about decluttering, but I have no idea what this, no one knows text even means. And this is a huge missed opportunity because as a small channel, you might get one chance to get in front of a new viewer. And if you waste that chance to tell them why this video is the one they need to watch right now, you're probably gonna lose them forever. But so many YouTubers just kind of resort to repeating the title and the thumbnail when you should be using it to either focus on a different angle that they might like more or visually show the thing that they would be most interested in based on the title. So rather than this confusing thumbnail, what if it showed the result of the decluttering instead? Something more like this. Or rather than just repeating the title, bathroom speed clean in the thumbnail, what if it focused on the part after she's finished, which is, let's face it, that's what people really want, right? See the difference here? These new thumbnails show something that makes the core idea all the more enticing to click on. They're easy to understand at a glance, and they carry the story forward. All right, let's pull up this next channel submitted by John. It's called Grow a Healthy Church. Take a look at some of these video titles. Young men are returning to church, the surprising vibe shift explained with Steve, and then it cuts off. Or why small groups fail. Now, I get it. These are probably topics that John genuinely cares about and thinks are valuable enough to share. But the big problem is, I can guarantee you nobody is typing these phrases into YouTube search bar. And if they are, these titles just aren't specific enough to show up in the search results. And this is a huge mistake that so many smaller channels make, copying the way that bigger channels make their titles while completely ignoring search intent. So just for a bit of context here, there are generally 2 ways for people to find your videos on YouTube. The first is when people actually search for something, then YouTube matches that search term with the videos that it thinks that you want to watch. Think of it like video SEO, basically. Now, the other way is that YouTube just knows who you are based on what you watch and what you like, and it puts stuff on your homepage that it thinks you're gonna like, and you don't have to search for it. This is where we tend to see the more curiosity-based titles and that viral potential pop up. But the thing is, when your videos are still getting under 100 views, YouTube doesn't know exactly who to recommend your videos to yet. That means your main source of growth is gonna be search traffic. So you have to figure out exactly what your potential audience is typing in and then match your videos to that. And I actually pulled up some search data for this niche, and guess what? People aren't looking for broad philosophical discussions on church leadership. They're looking for more practical real life stuff like how to increase church attendance, church volunteer recruitment ideas, and youth engagement ideas for small churches. And the good news is you don't even have to ditch the topics that you care about. You just want to tweak how you're packaging them. So instead of young men are returning to church, try something like how I grew my church by 30% in 6 months. Instead of why small groups fail, try 3 community building activities to bring new families to your church. It's all about finding that overlap, right? The sweet spot between what you know you can make a great video about and sharing what your audience is actively searching for. Then, after you start getting more and more views, you can start to really layer in those more curiosity-based titles into your mix. All right, let's move on to our next channel. This is from Justin Mott, and he's a photography coach. He helps other photographers with their careers and learning photography. But I took a look at some of his videos, and right away, I could kind of pinpoint a mistake that's probably costing him about 30 to 40% of his potential clients in the first 30 seconds of every video. So let's take a look at how this video starts. You've got a B-roll sequence. Here's Justin walking into his office, picking up his camera, putting it in his pocket, and then just showing the camera off. And all this happens with just some background music playing, no voiceover at all. Then only after about 15 seconds do we get any kind of an intro.
What is the perfect compact camera? Well, for me, for this guy, for this photographer, this is.
Now don't get me wrong, he poses a great question to start things off here, but by this point, he's already lost a huge chunk of his audience. And losing viewers isn't just losing views, it's losing potential clients and money. So let me quickly show you something really important about how YouTube viewers actually behave. So I want you to take a look at this retention graph from one of my own videos. So see this sharp drop off right in the first 30 seconds? This happens in nearly every single video on YouTube, especially the educational ones. It's that moment when your viewers are deciding if your content is actually worth their time. And on average, about 30 to 40% of the viewers are gonna click away in these first few seconds if you don't immediately give them something valuable or make it really clear exactly what they're gonna learn here. And here's why this is even worse. YouTube's algorithm really rewards videos that keep people watching early on. So if viewers leave right away, your videos get buried, which is especially rough for smaller channels trying to grow. So get to the point really fast. There's nothing wrong with Justin leading his videos with some B-roll footage, but he should be adding his voiceover immediately. And instead of opening with, "Hey everyone, welcome back," try diving right into what people are gonna get from your video. Even ask an interesting question that you promised to answer in the video. You can still introduce yourself and give your credentials, build your authority, all that good stuff, but only after you've actually hooked viewers by providing that immediate value. And trust me, you definitely want to ditch those fancy animated intros and asking people to subscribe up front. Those things just tell the viewers that you're more focused on yourself than on solving their problems. But all these mistakes aside, what exactly do you need to do to make your channel into an automated lead machine for your business? Well, I've got you covered in my free masterclass called How to Attract Unlimited Clients from YouTube, my 4-secret system for service providers to predictably generate leads and clients while you sleep. This is everything you need to get your YouTube channel started and growing so that you can actually get the right people watching and quickly get them to start paying you real money for your services. It's crazy powerful stuff, so just click right here to save your seat, and I'm gonna send you the training right away. So click here and let's dive in.